The defensive side of the ball. What positions got better? What positions got worse? Well, we got Maxwell Klitzke on to talk about that, and Michigan State, 2 Friday Night Lights games. What's that all about? Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for kicking off your weekend, your long weekend here with us at Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white 5 days a week. Please rate, review, subscribe, comment below on YouTube. Also reach out to us at lockedonspartans@gmail.com. And just to start on this note, as we said, we got a long weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Just want to take time, reflect appropriately on this weekend. There's never the right words to say. Saying, hey, happy Memorial Day is not the right thing to say because for many of us out there, not such a happy holiday. For anyone out there that has lost family or friends, just know that our love is with you guys. Hopefully that this is a weekend of reflection. Hopefully you find somewhat peace in this weekend. Nevertheless, really hope that it is as good of a weekend as it possibly could be for you guys. I know there's never the right words to say, but Maxwell, before many of us have a nice long weekend, partying, celebrating, enjoying Michigan's weather, just had to reflect on that really quick. Not to start like on a sanctimonious note, but like there really is like no good way to just, talk about it. But like really, guys. Anyway, on that note, there's no good transition to that one, Maxwell. How's the offseason treating you? Still okay since the last time we talked to you? We doing okay?
Yeah, now that things seem more settled, nobody can leave now.
Yes.
That's always a positive. We know nobody can leave. I mean, I guess we can always have those kind of last minute, Terry Roberts, didn't show up to fall camp kind of storylines. But I think with a lot of these guys, that would be more of a rarity than anything. So, rosters are kind of set. We can actually do big picture looking around at the conference, other teams across the country. So this is the fun time. I've already seen some conference previews out there. So we're finally getting close to actual total leather, which is God, we need it. So.
Oh, God, more than ever. Yeah. Next week, in the middle of next week, it's going to be 3 months until kickoff. And that is absolutely positively insane. Still, as of now, it's a Saturday game, but nevertheless, we'll get to the game times later on in the third segment because right now we're looking inward. We're looking at Michigan State. We're going position by position on the defensive side of the ball, and it's an easy question. Did they get better in that group or did they not? Maxwell, let's start with the cornerback room, the one that has gotten some sizzle here in the last few weeks. Of course, there's been a lot of additions via the transfer portal. Last year, though, let's set the table. You guys had Chuck Brantley, Dylan Tatum played some corner last year, Marquis Lowry, Chance Rucker as a true freshman, and let's rope the nickel position into this conversation too. Sure, that could be a safety. It could be a corner. We're going to talk about it as it's a corner for this conversation. Angela Gross, Chester Kimbrough last year. Apologies. This year, Ed Woods, Lejond Cavazos, your 2 transfers. Chance Rucker, Chuck Brantley, Ade Wiley, maybe Caleb Coley. Perhaps Nikai Martinez plays nickel. Maybe Cavazos plays nickel. But anyway, we'll still talk about them when we get to safeties. Maxwell, that just sounds like a better room, doesn't it? Is that pretty much the easy answer?
Yeah. Did you know that story that like Shaq tells when he got traded and he went into his apartment at like midnight and he was like, I need to go and get new stuff immediately, and just went to Walmart and ran up the credit card. Coach Meek kind of walked into this room, not just the DB room, but the safeties room as well and everything, and kind of looked around and was like, I'm going to need some new stuff. There is something here. It's been hinted at, like Chance Rucker is really the one piece that they kind of were like, we like this.
You stick around. Yeah, you're the lamp that's going to stay in this room.
They left a really good lamp, really nice coffee table, something. But he was like, I need to get some new stuff that I got to work with. And to his credit, he's brought guys in. He's had, like with every position group, we've had turnover in that position. Most notably Jaden Mangum for reasons long discussed and talked about.
Yep.
But, losing guys like Eddie Pleasant, Malcolm Jones, Marquis Lowry, we would see, those kind of guys getting snaps and being like, who's that guy again last year? And so when you're kind of getting to that level of DB through injuries and whatever was just going on, that's never a good recipe. So even Coach Meat was like, we need to bring some pieces in to go with this very nice, relatively new coffee table that we have here. So.
And it's just, reiterating, as we've been talking about the last 2 weeks with these transfer portal pickups, is two of those guys, at least, Lejond, Cavazos, Ed Woods, were going to be starters for their team. Maybe Cavazos was on the 2 deep. Nevertheless, he was going to be a rotational guy for the Tar Heels at worst. But this isn't like the days of old where we're getting Ronald Williams from Alabama, and it's like, well, he lost his starting job, but hey, Alabama has good players, maybe it works up here. Ed Woods is a bona fide starter over at that Pac-12 school. Well, Big 12 school, sorry.
Big 12, yeah.
Did not mean to slip like that. But nevertheless, you get my point here. Proven guys added, and that is a great analogy, the Shaquille O'Neal apartment shopping story. That has escaped my memory completely, but as you were saying it, it's like, oh my God, that's right. Yeah. And that is essentially what Coach Meat Blue Adams decided to do here. And look, the issues with the secondary weren't entirely on the corners last year. Obviously, pass rush has something to do with secondary. You can't protect your guy for 15 seconds out there like that. No one in the world can do that, but still, nevertheless, just personnel alone, I don't think it's overstepping saying that this can be an improved room. Now, let's see how fast they learn the scheme, especially as, maybe two of the starters are transfers. But nevertheless, we like where that's at right here. Let's keep talking about secondary, though. The safety position last year, of course, Jaden Mangum. You also have Malik Spencer, Amarian Smith, Khalil Majid. I got to say, which is a name that I don't think I knew until the middle of October. I'm going to shoot you straight right here. I like to think I know everything about every player in this team, but even last year, I'm like, is that Majed? Where the hell did they find this kid?
Yeah.
Turned out to be decent though. He
can
tackle pretty well, I gotta say. This year, Spencer, Dylan Tatum moving to that safety role as it has been talked about. Amarian Smith, Nikai Martinez, Majid, like we just talked about. You got Justin Denson too, and then maybe Cavazos at safety, although I think he profiles more of a corner. But nevertheless, that's the new crop that you got right now. This is where it could be ticky-tack if it did improve or not, because Mangum's out. Dylan Tatum's a pretty solid player. You still have Malik Spencer. You added a guy with a lot of experience in Nikai Martinez. So where do you see it, Maxwell? Do you think that this has grown into a positive this offseason? It's tough.
See, this one is tough.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Martinez's numbers, his production throughout his career has been similar to Jaden Mangum's. But like we said, we don't know exactly if he's going to be that starting safety role, or if Dylan Tatum's been credited for his versatility while he was a recruit. And people were nervous initially, like his freshman year. Oh, should we play him at corner? Should we have him at nickel? Like, which one does he like, so he doesn't leave, sort of thing.
Right.
I don't think we're going to run into those issues of where he's going to leave. Overall, for the safety position, I'll take the easy way out. I'll call it a push.
Okay.
I think you get different things, especially with Tatum at that spot, with him and his versatility about being in other areas. He could, Rossi likes to throw a lot of sim pressures. So, on a third down, he could creep down into the box with the linebackers and stuff. And he'd be comfortable in that area of the field because that's where he, spent time at nickel and spent time at corner, kind of cheating in and being right up on that line. So it's just different things we'll definitely have to kind of see. I feel better that, that we have Malik Spencer back there, some form of consistency throughout that defense. That was actually surprisingly, overall, we were 19th in returning production. According to Bill Connolly at ESPN, posted numbers person. Yeah, no 75. Way. Yeah, so transfers do factor into that. So that kind of lends a tail to what the production that the transfers are coming in. But it's, it's a significant, it's 3/4 of the production is returning technically, which is significant enough to kind of point to be, to show that that they ranked 30th overall in SP Plus as a defense coming into the preseason, which shocked me because,
right,
we did fairly well against the teams that we were kind of on even ground with, but then just would get barnstorms by, Michigan, Washington, Ohio State. So with that stability and that kind of continuity that Tatum and Spencer have had playing in a defense together with us, it's only a positive, but it is a new position for Tatum and it is an adjustment. So I would like to just call that one a push for now.
We'll let you be.
It's kind of how it feels.
Yeah, we'll let you be. Yeah, why not? It's the weekend. We're feeling fine on this Friday here. And we'll
save the takes for August. August is when I'll really get this. If you ask me in August, I'll be like, I'll have a definitive answer on it.
5 times better. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Folks, we got 2 more position groups to get to, but first, I'm sorry, I got to remove Maxwell. I got to send him to the sidelines because I need to talk to people's ears off about FanDuel Sportsbook. Guys, you already know it is the best time of year, arguably. There's a lot of best times of year in sports, let's be honest. But this is a golden one to get in on the action. We're talking NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, both in their conference finals. We got Major League Baseball. If the Tigers haven't broken your soul by now, like they have mine. PGA golf, though, that can never let me down. And that is another thing that FanDuel is just sensational at when it comes to the wagers. And also, just go ahead and track a PGA tournament on the FanDuel app. That is just a dynamite way to track your golf. Folks, right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That is $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to make every playoff shot count. And guys, if you are feeling saucy about our Spartans, we talked about this yesterday. I'll hit you with these odds again. Big Ten championship game, 170 to 1 for our Spartans to win in year 1 under Jonathan Smith. $1 can turn into $170 if you believe in the green and white that much. Go do it over at FanDuel. Again, that's FanDuel.com/lockedon. All right, let's drag him back here. Friend of the program, Maxwell Klitzke, and gang, 2 more position groups to get to. We have, I'm sorry. I actually broke this out into 3. I should read my own notes before I start recording here, Maxwell, because we have linebacker, defensive end, and defensive tackle. I did break up the 2 defensive line positions. Okay. Linebacker, last year you had Cal Halladay, Jacoby Windman, Aaron Brule, Jordan Hall, and then Darius Snow-ish is what I wrote down. Like, he didn't play a whole lot. Obviously, coming back from his leg exploding, that whole thing kind of made it a little odd last year. But this year, it's Cal Halladay. You have Jordan Hall. You have Jordan Turner. You have Wayne Matthews, Marcellus Pulliam, Brady Pretzloff, and then Samaj Bridgman, too. Although he could be playing some rush edge position. We'll see where he nuts out. Nevertheless, better, I think. The one name that's getting me hung up is Jacoby Windman. But, like, you didn't get the full season from him. So
no, you didn't get the full season. And, if we're in the trust tree right now and really honest with ourselves,
let's climb up there. Yep.
When quality opponent, what did we actually get from that? There's a lot of other reasons. It's, a defense, there's 11 guys on the field for a reason. But the game wrecker side of him that we saw it about teams we expected it to see.
Tough, but fair.
Not to do a postmortem on, why everything was wrong with the defense last year and propping up, breaking that down to make this one look better. But, that was a consideration that I had. But then thinking about, quality opponent, he didn't really, ruin anybody's day. That was significant. So.
Still better to have him than to not. But there is one name on this year list that like swings the pendulum for me at least into the positive, because you're not taking away a lot of names from last year, like Jacoby Windman, right? You're not adding a ton of this year, Jordan Turner, but Wayne Matthews, your pass coverage linebacker, because Maxwell, I'm sure you know full well. I didn't have a great time watching our linebackers trying to cover anyone last. I don't even know if they could cover the referee if they decided to run a little hitch route. It was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, the past 2 years, I believe the most picked on position in the passing game were our linebackers. So,
In the whole conference. In the
yeah,
entire conference. Yeah, it's not
everybody.
good.
Yeah, I say this with the most respect and, and everything, but less Cal Holiday snaps is a good thing.
Gotcha.
Because Cal's really good at fitting the run and getting downhill.
Absolutely.
He has lost weight coming into this year, so we'll see if he has improved speed or anything. But he really got picked on in pass coverage, especially with crossers coming across the middle and just having running backs or wide receivers coming across and just getting away from him in a 2 linebacker system. So, getting him, not having him play 60 snaps a game, good thing.
Gotcha.
Because, it's you can up the intensity for shorter periods of time, get really downhill on the run and really utilize his strengths instead of just having him out there because you don't really have anybody else. So that's another thing that I liked what this staff did is they really did add a good breadth of being able to rotate guys in. You lose Mod Neoteote, you lose Quavion Carter, but like you said, we gain Pulliam, we gain Jordan Turner, we gain Matthews, we gain Bridgman, we still have Hall and Halliday, and
right.
It's just rotation, and we can keep guys fresh and utilize their strengths as opposed to just having them out there to have them out there because there's no other option, right?
Yeah, I feel like taking away Jacoby Windman, who again, fine player, but just like you said, the higher opponent, and not. We'll call it issues for lack of a better term. We add in a good coverage linebacker, one of the best in the country in the transfer portal this year. And also just another year of Jordan Hall getting closer to his ceiling. Like if we thought he did solid as a true freshman last year, like I'm going to take a really hot take right now and say that I think he'll be a little better this year then.
Yeah.
Too. I don't think that's the best Jordan Hall's going to be as a true freshman. So
for May, that's
like
for
that?
a May take. That's pretty brave.
I should have kicked off the show with that one, not saving it to minute 17, but oh well, I'll get better at that. Let's do defensive end because, last year and this year are going to have a lot of the same names. Chris Bogle, of course, Avery Dunn, Jalen Thompson, Zion Young last year. Now this year, hey, the same 3 names that I just named. Chris Bogle, Avery Dunn, Jalen Thompson, but we're going to throw Quindarius Dunnigan into this group. I know he could play inside. He could play outside for sake of conversation. I'm just going to throw him into the defensive end right here. Yes, we did lose by Job, Andrew DePape. Those are guys that didn't really play much last year. If you want to go ahead and throw them in, for one, I also think they transferred because they weren't even going to sniff the 2 deep. But nevertheless, if anyone's wondering why we're leaving those names off, that's why. Just push maybe a lean improvement just because, it is another year of Jalen Thompson. If we're talking, and yes, it is another year of Chris Bogle. He's an older guy. I think that he's already at his ceiling. That's why I'm pulling out, Jalen Thompson for this conversation. But I'll stop my rambling. Maxwell, how do you see the defensive ends here?
I do think that that there was an improvement in the room. I think you did lose promising talent in Job and DePape, but it was said DePape after his shoulder surgery was never really
Gotcha.
right to a degree, never really bounced back, so that hurt his development obviously. And then with Job, we always heard really good things, but always that he was really raw in a project kind of thing. And if we know anything about the staff last year is that they weren't developing any sort of projects. Sneaking it in there. Yeah, sneaking it in there. We also have, Anthony Jones from Indiana coming over as well.
Yep.
So I just think, second year of Jalen Thompson really came on late toward the end of the year when they actually, cut him loose and let him go after it. He's going to do some good things. Again, it's the whole, what are we going to do against quality opponents thing? We're not, personally, I'm not looking for him to be a huge game breaker this year against the Oregons and the Ohio States and the Michigans of the world on the schedule. But, what can he do against guys our level so far this year? But yeah, Bogle, I'm still holding out hope. But he's got to do everything he can to beat the Mike Fletcher allegations. Just being the perfect body type, body type.
Dude, yes.
But but he seems excited to be in the new scheme. I think it translates more to like what he was brought in to do at Florida when he had originally committed there. So I trust Rossi to have the X and O's kind of fit what Jimmy and Joe's that he has. So I'm thinking that he'll more let the players be the players and work to their skill set, as opposed to kind of keeping them, no, this is your responsibility, only do this sort of thing. So with just that alone, I think the creativity side will open up things that we'll see improvement from the rush edge position.
So you trust the coaching staff to develop. Do you know who I trust, Maxwell? You ready for this transition? You like this?
eBay Motors.
No. That was a good guess, though. It's game time. It's game time. Nice try, though. We got defensive tackle to come, and then we still got a riff on these Friday games, guys. But first, again, Game Time, my favorite ticketing app out there. I love Game Time for so many reasons, and you already know my top reason is how much money they save you. Let's say you're going to a theatrical performance, a concert, a comedy show, or, hey, a sporting event. At the end of the week, you already know you're going. Go on the app, look at those tickets. They have their flash deals throughout the week leading up to the game. Or if you're a procrastinator, you're walking up to the stadium with no tickets yet, well, open up the phone, open up Game Time. They will have their last-minute ticket deals right there for you. They are saving you money wire to wire, and they also want to start saving you money right off the bat, guys. That's right. When you go to Game Time and create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. You will not want to miss out on Game Time. They are truly the best tickets out there that you can get for your money. Again, Locked On College is a promo code for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, so we've been doing a good job of being, I think, positive and also genuine too. I don't think we're just blowing smoke up MSU's you-know-what just for the sake of doing it, just because we like the Spartans a lot, Maxwell. I think we've explained ourselves. But with that said, interior defensive line. I don't know if you saw this. Are you sitting down over there? Are you ready for some big news? You remember Derrick Harmon, Simeon Barrow, those two guys, solid players?
They're great. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not here next year. I don't know if you saw that on the blotter.
What?
I know. Shoot, you know
what
happened? Someone just really liked the heat from the Miami game a few years ago and said more of that, please. And the other one I don't have a snarky comment for.
Manny Diaz's Miami Hurricanes.
That's the one. That is the one. Yes, that's a great little time capsule right there. So, last year we had Simeon Barrow, Derrick Harmon, also Jalen Sami, Maverick Hansen, and then Ben Nelson. I always got to shout him out. The former walk-on offensive lineman who got snaps at defensive line last year, if you wanted a nice little snapshot of how well things were going last year. This year, though, Daquan Dowse, nice little transfer from Georgia Tech. You have Maverick Hansen back for his 17th year of eligibility. Jalen Satchel out of Old Dominion. You have Big Worm Ben Roberts out of Oregon. You have Ruquan Buckley out of Nebraska. Ben Nelson, of course. And then Alex Van Sumeren, who did not play last year. Big injury. The year before that, also big injury. So whenever I bring up Alex Van Sumeren, I always say, let's level set expectations, guys. I know he's a former top 300 recruit, but two big injuries to start his career. Maxwell, I hate to end this portion on a dud, but I don't think there is improvement. Although I will say this, I don't think the drop-off is going to be incredibly drastic. Both those statements fair, do you think, or where are you at?
Yeah, I think 2024, we're worse. I don't think there's really getting anything around there. There are a lot of rumors, rumors to me, I didn't believe them because I just learned this evening that Harmon and Barrow are no longer with Michigan State. So still processing that. So after losing them, I think Dowse is a good replacement for Barrow. I don't think they're really a replacement for Harmon. Harmon was a guy. He was definitely going to be a guy even coming in, and they did the whole flirting with the portal thing and came back in, and we thought they were brought back in, and we're like, awesome, we at least have this, we can at least rally around this, and then that disappeared. Barrow, obviously productive, but feels like there was always questions about whether it be his health or his motor in games.
Sure. I think that's fair.
Yeah. So we'll see. It stinks, obviously, because you have 2 set starters that you're replacing. But like I said, with Dowson and the other players, being able to rotate in, it'll have definitely some growing pains in that position group. But I think, long term, the staff, again, did a lot of cleaning up the past staff's messes to make sure that they're, that they're not going to mess up. They'll take the hit in 2024, but making sure it doesn't bleed into 25 or 26. So that's what you see some of those additions, because Ben Roberts is a guy with eligibility. I think Ruquan Buckley was a guy with eligibility. A lot of guys with still years left under their belt that can improve the team and get valuable playing experience rotating in. So definitely will be a position by platoon this year, especially to try to keep everybody healthy. Because anybody going down at that position is going to be tough. Same across the board for 2024 with depth and everything. It's better, I think, than it was, but it's still obviously razor thin across the board. So.
Yeah, certainly better than it was even 3 weeks ago, at some spots. But yeah, I feel like that's fair with defensive line. Yes, they have gotten 3 guys, just like you said. Satchel and Big Worm, those are 2 guys with 3 years of eligibility. Ruquan Buckley, 2 years of eligibility. I think it's more of a future play with what Jonathan Smith was doing here. Will you still see them this year? Certainly. Yeah, because, God, someone has to play.
Right.
I mean, I don't think we're going to trot out, Daquan Dowse, Maverick Hansen out there for 90 snaps per game. I think that will give them some water every once in a while. But nevertheless, I think that's a fair way to put it. Maxwell, we got to get to the smoking hot news that we kind of somewhat jinxed yesterday in Locked On Spartans. I had to record earlier in the day. And then we talked about, hey, Friday games could be coming. You never know. And then, well, look at that. 2 of them have been dropped, actually. At Oregon in early October, and then home against Purdue late November. Maxwell, your first initial thoughts when you see that? Really broad question, but go. What can you do?
I'm going to answer your question with a trivia question for you.
Oh, God. Okay.
What numbers am I reading off? So I'm going to start. Okay.
I'm not going to get this. Okay.
3, 10,
okay.
7, 7, 2, 11, 5, 4.
Those were the numbers of the horses that I bet the entire day during the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs, and I didn't win a single one of those bets. Am I right? Did I do it?
Much like your horse bet racing, horse race betting. Sorry. Not correct. Those were the number of wins that Michigan State has had in each of their seasons since making the playoff in 2015.
Okay. You know what, Maxwell? I think we're going to align on a take here. Yeah.
Yeah. So my whole take here is that you can do the whole, this is what college football is becoming. This is ruining the sport, TV, everything, yada, yada, yada.
Fine.
But also winning fixes a lot of problems. And when you're not winning, you don't get to have a lot of leverage at the table. So I know in instances like these, you're a 6-win team since you made the playoffs 10 years ago, almost.
Yep.
You don't get to dictate your terms when you're a 6-win team. Maryland isn't doing that. Illinois isn't doing that. Minnesota isn't doing that. Yes, we had our run and we got to beat our chest, and we're one of the.
It was great. Yeah.
One of the 3 Big Ten old Big Ten teams that have made the playoff in the old structure.
Yeah,
those days are long gone. We don't have that kind of leverage anymore.
It's been a while. It has been a while. Can Michigan State get back up there? Of course. I mean, just with. Well, obviously, we like the staff right now, but also where Michigan State sits in revenue. I know that's kind of like a boring thing to throw out, but there is something to be said about that. They're a top 15 revenue school in the country. They have a rich tradition. Look, Michigan State can get back to winning, being able to, make their own terms of what happens. But Maxwell, I thought I was going to be on my own island with that take here because look, the Friday game in November, like it's weird. It was long said that, hey, they don't do night games that late in November, especially in Big Ten country. But with this new TV deal, Fox will play you at 3 a.m. if they please. Like they do not care what the weather is, what's going on in the school year. No. You will give us eyeballs when we say you do. Now, before I keep agreeing with your take, I will say this. Boy, did I not want MSU at Oregon to be like an isolated game that everyone can just watch right now. At least not in year one under Jonathan Smith. Maybe in 2 or 3 years when we got the wheels churning. That's just something I'm a little worried about. It's kind of like last year how we were primetime against Ohio State, primetime against Michigan, primetime against Penn State, primetime against Washington. No, I'm sorry. Washington was Peacock. Nevertheless, the first 3 games I just rattled. Didn't necessarily love being the lone team with all the attention.
No, but my counter to that is expectations are different, right? We still had a sense of belief in what we wanted the 2023 MSU team to be. And then we had the explosion off field, the bombshell drop,
Well, that doesn't help.
We lead right into a drubbing and everything. So I can see the storylines already for this game. It's going to be Jonathan Smith's first trip back to Eugene since, last year when he already knew, from what we've learned in the background, he already knew that he was the head coach of Michigan State in 2024 going into his last Civil War. And it looked like it last year. So this is, a whole new era of Michigan State football, but it's also this game will mean something to Jonathan Smith. So I think actually this will be a really good first instance of what kind of intangible quality this 2024 team and the Smith team will have. See, I'm spinning this and being able to show the country, like, okay, this is a guy who just left this coach's rival school. Oregon just came into the Big Ten. They're already one of the favorites to win the conference that they're brand new to. What are we going to do? Are we going to walk into Autzen and just lay down and die? Or are we going to make it, at least incredibly uncomfortable? Nothing that Dan Lanning can be up and down cutting a promo on the sideline about. None of that stuff. So, we don't want to be featured in somebody's NFL draft highlight tape for that game. That's my end goal for that game, really.
That's a good bar to set. I don't hate that.
And then late year, Purdue, looking at the schedule, at least like as to up to date as it is, there are some stinkers on Saturday because it's that warm up right before the last week of the season.
Right. Yep.
But so on Friday, the only other game going on is Temple and UTSA. So Purdue, Michigan State,
Magic.
Still a pretty good draw. And it's for what we think Michigan State could be, for what we think like Vegas thinks could be competing for a bowl spot. That could be a bowl clinching win for Michigan State. So, just looking at other games in the schedule nationally, you do have some bangers in the SEC. Alabama at Oklahoma on that Saturday.
Okay, yeah.
Kentucky at Texas on that Saturday as well. Whatever you think. A&M at Auburn, sure. Big Ten doesn't have a ton going on that last week in Purdue, and I understand the concerns. It's valid. The complaints are the complaints what they're going to be, but it's
I get it.
It's why we added. All of this is because we added Rutgers and Maryland to the conference all those years ago. This is just we're reaping what we're sowing right now, and it's not fun all the time. So,
well, I'm glad that you were the one to ruin the majority of fans' moods right there with pointing out that it has been a downswing for Michigan State. Like, guys, Peach Bowl was awesome. I had a great time. the Holiday Bowl in 2017. That was a hoot and a half. I'll always remember that night, oddly enough. Like that was a lot of fun watching that team get their 10th win. But yes, like one thing that like you hear a little bit about is like, oh well, we just got pushed over again. We got bullied, or oh, Ohio State wouldn't do this. Ohio State also wouldn't go 3 of the last 4 years with 5 or less wins. I want to make everyone upset going into a long weekend. Hopefully we're going to have a great time, know. But let's have a reality check and like look where we are right now. We're not really up to snuff to be telling Fox, hey, where to slide us. So nevertheless, but still, at the end, USC, they got to play one of these wacky Friday games. So UCLA's got to do it too. So nevertheless, it is what it is. And I think it'll be fun. I don't know. Like Friday games are kind of, unique.
Yeah, and I get the people traveling, wanting to go to Eugene and everything. That does stink. It does mess up travel.
Yeah, totally.
Totally. And Saturday, Labor Day weekend, that stinks. But
sucks.
as you mentioned, 2017 season, coming off a 3-9 year.
Wow.
What day did the season start at?
Saturday. Yeah, that's a good call. That's savvy work. That's Maxwell Klitzke, folks. We keep dragging him onto this show, and he keeps agreeing to, and I'm happy he does. Amazing chat with you as always. And folks, again, enjoy yourself this weekend. Stay safe out there. Let's mix in a water. And hey, take care of yourself. Love you all. Go Green.
Go White.